it's right for an international manager to pick a player who's not been playing. It's same as he's chosen Shaw, from Man United. He's a good player. He's apparently the only left-footed player we've got as a fullback. But he's been injured for the last 3 or 4 months. So what? He's not match fit. He won't get match fit in training. So I think this is again another serious flaw that some of our managers have. They obviously have favourites who they want to bring along because on paper it looks like the right thing to do. But I don't begin to understand why he's choosing players who've not been playing for their teams, for their clubs. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And
There we are.
Like I say, if you want a player to have a feel of a match, you can organize an indoor friendly. That's not because this friendly that you put on TV for the whole world to see, for the whole England to see, and Iceland is beating England 1-0. How do people take it? If you want a player or to have a feel of the game, then have an indoor friendly. Okay, England national team against Manchester City team. Indoor. Let them have a feel of it, but not come up publicly and disgrace England.
Yeah.
Ramsdale does not feature all the time for his team, but you put him in a friendly match. But the goalkeeper you're going to eventually use in Euros, you're sitting him down. This is a friendly. This is when you should have a feel of how a competition is going to be like.
Absolutely.
So Ramsdale, when you know he's not going to be your number one choice.
Yeah.
And Iceland are listed as 72nd in world football. And yet, I don't know what we are. Are we 4 or 5 or 6, something like that? But they beat us. And they beat us 7 or 8 years ago and put us out of the competition. So something is wrong. They never seem to address what might to the rest of us, or some of us, seem, as we've discussed, some fairly obvious failings here. They've got to learn to play like a club together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about first of all, I'm going to say this. Do you think it's a gimmick? We're losing on purpose?
Nah. I don't agree. I used to believe that in a boxing match. There was a time I told my kids, when Anthony Joshua lost to Andy Ruiz,
right,
and my kids were so upset. How could he have lost to that short guy and stuff like that? And I said, I'm thinking it's a gimmick.
Right, okay.
And the excuse I gave them, this is funny now. I said, do you know Muhammad Ali? They said, yes. I said, he was 3-time world heavyweight champion. I said, everyone will want to achieve such feat. I said, maybe Anthony Joshua lost purposely so that I can have a rematch and beat that guy and become a 2-time world champion. I may obviously lose again in future and become 3 times world champion and becomes like Muhammad Ali. Because no one has ever achieved that feat that Muhammad Ali achieved. No one. So I used to think, it's a gimmick. No.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
No gimmicks.
So we're ruling out gimmicks then. We're ruling out
gimmicks.
Right, okay.
No.
Now the real issue that I was going to talk about is not an issue as such. Anthony Gordon. What do we make of him?
Anthony Gordon is a good player. He's a very good player, talented. And from my opinion here, he's worth playing in the national team. He's a good player.
Oh, good.
Good player.
Because I like him. Trevor, what do we think of Anthony Gordon?
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think he's an excellent player, and when you watch him for Newcastle, you can see that. But without labouring the point, the feeling I got about him the other day was he was beavering away on the left, but he didn't really know who might be passing to him or quite what he's expected to do, and that will come the more he plays if he's in the first the team that's picked. But I felt he looked a bit of a lost soul, but that he's a very good player. But he really serves to underline the problem we see, that they don't play together enough. And when he's bringing in a newish player, he's got to blood them within that team, and to be doing that in a couple of friendlies before the Euros might not be the most sensible thing. But yeah, he's a very good footballer.
Yeah,
Very
I
good.
think so. I think so too. Right. So on female football, have we got anything
Yeah,
to? Yeah, have we got anything to say?
yeah, yeah. It's only something to what do we think? Now, I did have the numbers, but with the what is it? There's 10 teams, no, 12 teams, I think, in the WSL, the Women's Super League.
Yeah.
And I think it's more than half, maybe 7 or 8, are managed by men. Now, I'm
Right.
not necessarily saying that's wrong. I mean, obviously, Emma Hayes, the Chelsea, very successful Chelsea manager, she's now gone or is going to America. She's
Yeah.
going to
America, yeah.
work as the USA manager,
Yeah.
and good luck to her. But I don't know. I think men can do a good job on women's football as managers. But for example, when I watch one of their games, I always like to see a woman ref and women linesmen because
Yeah.
I guess some of them are coming up through the ranks, but I always get the feeling if it's a man ref, it's because the men know better, and you get there's some people perhaps like Joey Barton, bless him, who seems to have a real downer on women's football and others too.
Yeah.
But it's coming along, and I think it's doing pretty well. I would just like to see more women managers, and I
Yeah.
guess actually, as more of the players retire, maybe that will happen as a matter of course.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, we talk about managers and we think of Alex Ferguson and how tough he was. If I was a manager and I'd like to be a football manager in some ways,
Yeah.
but you said what would my reaction be on X Factor? If I were a manager of a women's football team, and if a manager sometimes really wants to perhaps have a go at a player who's either not pulling their weight or could be doing a lot better,
Yeah.
for me, I would find it very hard to come down heavily on a female footballer for fear, perhaps, but not saying women are weak. I mean, there's some very
No.
tough women footballers, but I'd hate the idea of reducing someone to tears. I'm
Yeah.
sure there are many men footballers who've been reduced to tears by the likes of Ferguson and others. And
Yeah.
I say that saying Ferguson was probably the best manager ever,
Yeah.
but he was tough. And I wouldn't like to see any footballer, but particularly a woman,
Yeah.
suddenly reduced to tears. So maybe that's just me who thinks that, but I would like to see more of the teams managed by a woman.
Yeah. Well, that's a very great point. Yes, Femi, have you got anything to add to that?
I agree with Trevor, because I feel the women with their emotions and stuff will know how to put things down, how to, bring a conversation, how to speak to a woman. There's going to be a more of intimacy. Women know how to deal with women, and considering the fact that it's a game sport, they'll know what if they look at each other, they probably can read when someone's going through something, or what I mean, and they'll know how to address the situation at that time. Then coming to the issue of officiating, like Trevor said wants to see more of women officiating women football and stuff like that. It's a good idea, but I still think sometimes there should be a bit of a mix. Maybe a woman being the referee and the two linesmen being a male or whatever. It's good. Also, same thing with the men's game as well. So this bring more of competition, and it also develops the women football as well.
Yeah, yeah. So if I'm getting you right, are you saying that you would like to see perhaps more women officiating the men's game as well? Is that?
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's beautiful. Yeah, I'm sure we all agree with that. Yeah, that's good. Right. So unless anybody else has got anything else to say, it's a beautiful note to bring the show to an end while we wait for the Euros to come around. Yeah, we can
The
have
prediction. I've got the predictions. Yeah.
Yeah, my
Italy.
prediction, England.
Italy.
I'm standing by England. I'm standing by England. Yes, yes, I am standing by England. I think the football's coming home. It's due. It's long overdue. Aye, we want it. We want it here.
Yeah.
Do a parade. Do a parade, perhaps around your area, Femi, just to let you rub it in your face. I'm sure Trevor will be handy with his flag going.
Waving his flag.
Going, I told you
No,
so.
absolutely. Because it starts on Friday week, doesn't it? So next week on our podcast will be.
It starts, yeah.
Go on, Trevor. Go on, Trevor. Go on, Trevor.
No, go on. I'd finished. I'm just saying next week we'll be previewing when it's about to start. So we'll have some ideas then, perhaps.
On Friday, yeah.
So what I was going to say is, every Euro, England has got 85%, 90% chance of winning.
And
Not only the Euro.
Does that include this one as well?
Wow. Yeah, every competition England goes for. Because they have the players.
Yeah.
Why do you think all the players all over the world wants to come and play in England?
Yeah.
Because the competition is about the toughest and the best all over the world. And if you look at it, you have English players playing here, majority.
Yeah.
So England has a chance of winning it every time. But it's just one little details that need to be done. And that's what we've been discussing so far.
Yeah.
The players need to play together. The more. And if I bet you if that is adopted, that's all they need.
I hope Gareth Southgate listens to this, He might learn something.
They also need to really practice the penalty shootouts, because I tend to think it's something in the British, or the English character that almost definitely will lose a penalty shootout. I suppose they know the whole country is, desperate to win the penalty shootout, especially in the final or semi-final, and the pressure on the players is huge. So you need players who actually have a bit of a swagger, a bit arrogant, and who say, I don't actually care if I miss, having that attitude.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of guy who's going to score every time for you.
Yeah.
So, I think must practice the penalty shootouts.
Yeah.
In that area of penalty shootout, I can't say anything because I've lost so many penalties in my days,
Well, it's a good thing we won't be having your play penalties.
Don't be putting me on the England team when it comes to penalties.
No, we'll let Gareth Southgate know that. Right. So I've been Emmy Hikins, and
I've been Trevor Gear,
and I've been Femi Madariola.
Yeah. So do you want to conclude for us, Femi, please?
Yeah, we hope to see you next time, and we hope you've enjoyed it so far, and we hope Gareth Southgate is listening. Thank you very much. See you next week for another exciting.
See you next week on the football referee. Yeah.